They call it the most trusted vault on earth, a place where kings and CEOs hide their fortunes. But behind that polished door, UBS wasn't just storing money. They were melting down Nazi gold, hiding billions from the IRS, and rigging the global economy. This is the story of how the world's safest bank became the world's dirtiest. To understand the crime, you have to go back to 1939. Hitler invades Poland. Europe falls apart. Countries are burning. But Switzerland? Switzerland stays quiet. They declare neutrality. That sounds peaceful. But neutrality during a world war isn't innocence. It's opportunity. While bombs fell on London and Paris, the Swiss kept their lights on. Their banks stayed open. And one bank in particular saw a chance to get very rich. UBS, back then UBS wasn't the giant it is today. But they had something valuable. Silence. Rich families from across Europe started rushing their gold into Switzerland. They were afraid of losing everything. UBS welcomed them with a smile. But here is the dark part. Not all the gold flowing into UBS belonged to scared families. Some of it belonged to the Nazis. Hitler's army was stealing everything. Gold from central banks, jewelry from Jewish families, even wedding rings and dental fillings. The Nazis needed to turn that stolen loot into clean cash. They needed a bank that wouldn't ask questions. They found UBS. Internal bank reports later confirmed it. UBS took Nazi gold, melted it down, stamped it with neutral markings, and put it back into the world as if nothing happened. Between 1939 and 1945, Switzerland's central bank bought over $400 million worth of Nazi gold. That's billions today. UBS handled a huge chunk of it. They knew exactly what they were doing. And when the war ended, the victims came looking for their money. Thousands of Jewish families had opened accounts at UBS before the war. They deposited their life savings. Then they went to the camps. Many never came back. When survivors or relatives showed up to claim the money, UBS had a problem. The records were missing. The accounts were dormant. Convenient, right? But the bank's biggest scandal wasn't buried in the past. It was waiting in the future. And it involved a whistleblower, the US government, and a secret that almost destroyed Switzerland. The Nazi gold scandal stayed hidden for decades. UBS thought they got away with it. And for a while they did. The bank grew bigger, stronger. By the 1990s, UBS wasn't just a Swiss bank anymore. They were a global empire, managing trillions of dollars for the richest people on earth. Oligarchs, CEOs, celebrities. They all wanted the same thing, privacy, and UBS sold privacy like a drug. But here is the truth they didn't want you to know. That privacy wasn't just about keeping secrets. It was about breaking the law. Enter Bradley Birkenfeld. He was a UBS banker, well-dressed, smart, trusted. He helped rich Americans hide their money in Switzerland. How did it work? A wealthy American would walk into UBS. They wouldn't use their real name. Just a number, a code. Then UBS would set up a shell company in Panama or the British Virgin Islands. That company owned the account, not the client. So when the IRS came looking, nothing. No paper trail, no emails, no names. UBS bankers flew to the United States on tourist visas. They met clients in hotel lobbies. They handed out encrypted laptops. They taught rich people how to break up big deposits into tiny transfers so the government wouldn't notice. It was a machine, and it made UBS millions. But Birkenfeld started feeling sick about it. He saw billionaires cheating the system while ordinary people paid their taxes. He saw UBS lying to the US government, so he walked into the US Justice Department, and he told them everything. The FBI was shocked. They knew rich people hid money, but they didn't know UBS had built an entire criminal system to help them do it. The investigation exploded. By 2008, the United States had UBS cornered. The Justice Department said, "Give us the names of your American clients, all of them, or you lose your license to do business in America." For UBS, that was a nightmare. Swiss bank secrecy was sacred. It was the law. For over a century, no bank had ever broken it. But now, Washington was demanding blood. The year is 2009. The world is still recovering from a financial meltdown. Banks are failing. People are angry. And the U.S. Justice Department just dropped a bomb on UBS. The accusation? UBS wasn't just helping people cheat on their taxes. They were running the largest offshore tax evasion scheme in history. Switzerland fought back. Hard. Their government said, "Bank secrecy is our law. We will not break it." The United States said something different. "Then your bank will not work on American soil." UBS was trapped. If they obeyed Switzerland, they lost the American market. Billions in profits, gone. If they obeyed America, they broke a century of Swiss law, and every rich client would run away. The bank chose survival. In February 2009, UBS admitted guilt. They paid a massive fine, $780 million. But the fine wasn't the real punishment. The real punishment was the list. UBS agreed to hand over the names of nearly 4,500 American account holders. Real names, real account numbers, real evidence. For the first time ever, Swiss bank secrecy had a hole in it. The reaction was immediate. Rich Americans started panicking. They called their bankers in the middle of the night. "Can they see my name? Did I make the list?" Some clients withdrew millions in cash. Others tried to move money to smaller Swiss banks. But it was too late. The IRS now had a roadmap. Dozens of wealthy Americans were prosecuted. Some went to prison. Others paid millions in back taxes and penalties. But here is the part the news didn't tell you. UBS didn't lose. The year is 2009. The world is still recovering from a financial meltdown. Banks are failing, people are angry, and the U.S. Justice Department just dropped a bomb on UBS. The accusation? UBS wasn't just helping people cheat on their taxes. They were running the largest offshore tax evasion scheme in history. Switzerland fought back, hard. Their government said, "Bank secrecy is our law. We will not break it." The United States said something different. "Then your bank will not work on American soil." UBS was trapped. If they obeyed Switzerland, they lost the American market. Billions in profits, gone. If they obeyed America, they broke a century of Swiss law, and every rich client would run away. The bank chose survival. In February 2009, UBS admitted guilt. They paid a massive fine, $780 million. But the fine wasn't the real punishment. The real punishment was the list. UBS agreed to hand over the names of nearly 4,500 American account holders. Real names, real account numbers, real evidence. For the first time ever, Swiss bank secrecy had a hole in it. The reaction was immediate. Rich Americans started panicking. They called their bankers in the middle of the night. "Can they see my name? Did I make the list?" Some clients withdrew millions in cash. Others tried to move money to smaller Swiss banks. But it was too late. The IRS now had a roadmap. Dozens of wealthy Americans were prosecuted. Some went to prison. Others paid millions in back taxes and penalties. But here's the part the news didn't tell you. UBS didn't lose. After the tax evasion scandal, UBS needed a fresh start. They hired new leaders. They promised to behave. But old habits die hard. Inside the London office, a young trader named Tom Hayes was about to do something insane. He wasn't just trying to make money. He was trying to control the entire world's interest rates. Sounds crazy, right? But it worked. Here is how. Every day, a group of big banks submitted a number. That number was supposed to be their honest borrowing cost. Those numbers got averaged together to create something called LIBOR. LIBOR affected everything: mortgages, credit cards, student loans. Over $300 trillion worth of contracts depended on it. Tom Hayes figured out a cheat code. He made friends with bankers at other firms. He sent them messages on Bloomberg chat. He offered favors. He applied pressure. "Please put in a low number today," he would write. "I'll buy you dinner." And they did it. Hayes and his team nudged LIBOR up and down by tiny amounts. Just 0.01%. That sounds like nothing. But with billions of dollars in play, those tiny moves created millions in profit for UBS. The bank knew what was happening. Internal emails showed managers were aware. Compliance officers raised concerns. But the money was too good to stop. For 3 years, the scheme worked. UBS made a fortune. Tom Hayes became a star. Then the walls caved in. In 2012, global regulators exposed everything: the Bloomberg chat logs, the bribes, the coordinated lies. The world realized that LIBOR, the number that set the price of money everywhere, had been a complete fraud. UBS paid $1.5 billion in fines. Tom Hayes was arrested, extradited, and sent to prison. But here is the question no one asked. How did a single trader manipulate a global benchmark for 3 years without management stopping him? The answer is simple. They didn't want to stop him. UBS's culture wasn't broken by accident. It was designed that way. Profit above everything. Rules be damned. And that culture would soon lead to the bank's darkest hour, an hour when Switzerland almost lost its most famous bank forever. By 2011, UBS was bleeding. Fines piled up. Clients ran away. The bank looked finished. Then came Sergio Ermotti. He wasn't a flashy Wall Street type. He was a fixer, a surgeon. He walked into UBS with a scalpel and started cutting. He fired thousands of traders. He shut down risky divisions. He took UBS back to its roots. Wealth management, safe, boring, profitable, and it worked. By 2018, UBS was the largest wealth manager in the world. Trillions under management, billions in profit. The bank that melted Nazi gold, that helped billionaires hide from the IRS, that rigged global interest rates. It won. In 2023, UBS swallowed its biggest rival. Credit Suisse collapsed. UBS bought them for a fraction of their value. The Swiss government begged UBS to save the banking system. The criminal became the hero. Today, UBS is too big to fail, too powerful to touch. The fines mean nothing. The scandals are footnotes. But here is the warning. Every time UBS has looked unstoppable, disaster followed. Nazi gold, tax evasion, LIBOR. Each time, they survived. But banks don't die from old age. They die from one mistake, one hidden